Hi everyone, so welcome back, and I kind of changed my mind for this week's video. So here's the scene. Travelling for the first time in a little while to a customer site in the Cotswolds. For me it's about 100 miles, charged to 100% the night before, so all good to go, preheated and pre-planned before I left, which means the car was warm, the battery was warm. Probably lost about 9%, so I ended up with about 81 miles. Planned a stop at a services with two grid services, and here's the scene when I got there. So when I got there, I checked about 10 minutes before, checked on ZapMap and PlugShare, both available. Got there, EQC parked up and charging, VW ID3 parked up and charging. Checked the EQC at about 70%. Checked the VW ID3, he was about 65%. EQC guy nowhere to be found, and the ID3 chap, just spoke to him and said he was there till about 80%. Perfect protocol. So I said, that's fine, I'll wait. So I had about 30 odd miles left in the i3. So I thought I'd wait. So I waited a little amount of time. In that time, we subsequently had an MG estate turn up wanting to charge, and it went downhill from there. So originally this was going to be a vlog that basically was my travel from home to the Cotswolds and things like that. But really what happened was it got me thinking around charging, and especially like things like motorway charging, which is getting better. Grid Server doing a great job. There's still some bits to do and there's still some way to go, but they're doing a really good job. Now, when I got there, like I said, there was two cars charging. ID3 was close to finishing, so I went in, grabbed a coffee, grabbed something to eat, come out. And unfortunately with these, so the two GridServe chargers, one was CCS and CHAdeMO and one was CCS and CCS. Now unfortunately they don't allow dual charging yet, which if they had, this problem would have been avoided. So while I was waiting for charging, the guy in the MG come up to me and said, oh, are you going to be long? I explained that they can't dual charge. He subsequently said, I hate electric cars. I've not found one working charger this morning. So he's already started with a bad day of clearly going around a few services trying to find a charger that works. So that's unfortunate. I explained that I was waiting for the ID3. He was fine with that. I said, obviously, I'm only going to go up to what I need to get to my destination, because I'm going to be charging like I am now. I'm in a Lidl's charging on a pod point. More on that in a bit. So he had to wait. We both then checked. I plugged in my my car after the ID3 as he said. Got to the top, very polite. Said what plug to use because he believed the other one wasn't quite working. So that was good. Plugged in, charged, and I was away. Subsequently checked the EQC to see when he could charge, and he was sitting in his car waiting. He'd gone past the 80%, past the 90%, and his net was now at about 95, 96%. Now, two problems here. One, the chap who with the MG, I don't think was overly polite. He'd had a bad day, so you kind of have to put a little bit down to them. It's early in the morning. He hadn't had a good day in terms of not being able to get charger, so he was already a bit irate. Then seeing this guy sitting in his car and wanting to get to like 98, 99 or even 100% really kind of tips you over the edge. He explained this not in the most polite way, I think, to the EQC owner, and the EQC owner said, well, I've got to charge to 100% because I've got to get to my destination. Now, bearing in mind, EQCs generally have, I would hazard a guess that EQCs have probably got a good 200 miles. Comments below if you think that's different, but he would have a reasonably good amount of distance in the car, whereas the other chap clearly hadn't and needed to charge up. The other guy then was really goes, well, you know, you just need to go somewhere else. You know, you need to grow up. All the different abuse and stuff like that started flying around. So I got back in my car. But it comes to the point now where if you're getting to 80% or even 90%, if you've got enough to get somewhere, or you know that you'll be able to plan to get to another fast charger, it's clear to me that if you've got to go somewhere 200 miles, then you should be stopping and probably planning your route a little bit better. You know, with me, I planned my route. It didn't quite work out, but I waited, got on the charger. The one day I could have gone to the one down the road, however, that was a single one, so there was a risk. But I still think that there's people out there, certainly new owners, and this is not aimed at everyone, but there's certain owners out there that think they're privileged and they're entitled to sit there and hog the charger until it's like 100%. And you really don't. Once it hits that 85% or 80%, your charging rate dramatically slows down, which means you're not benefiting anyone, and all you're doing is delaying the next person that's either waiting or will be coming along. So, you know, there's several things here to unpack. One is charging etiquette. Personally, I think they should cut charges off at the maximum at 85%. 85% is your kind of good range, top it off. That's down to your planning. If you've got a small car like mine, I've got a small range car, but I still go Cotswolds and places like that. I plan. If you've got a big range car with 200 miles, you've got no excuse not to get where you need to get to and plan better. So, you know, that's one thing. The second thing is the guy that was clearly a bit irate and asking for the guy to kind of disconnect so he could plug in, could have been politer, and again that comes down to charging etiquette. He could have explained the situation better and he could have asked, and I don't think he did. He kind of told him, so that was another thing. The other thing really is the charging infrastructure. Now, while it is getting better, there is still services especially which are going to get a lot busier and a lot busier quickly. If they've got 2 of these fast chargers in, make them able to dual charge, so at least 2 people can get even a slightly reduced charge, but they can get on their way until one of the other ones finishes and it speeds up. That will help in the short term whilst they maybe put in charging hubs and more chargers. So that was the situation this morning. I finally got to my meeting, had a meeting, drove through the wonderful hills of Cotswolds, fantastic in the i3. The i3 isn't the most cleanest at the moment, and I'll do a little bit in a minute of how that looks. Obviously with all the crap and stuff like that on the road, that hasn't helped. But I'm now sitting in a Lidl's car park after I travelled to Evesham just down the road, because they had on ZapMap they had about 5 or 6 fast chargers. I thought great. Got to the first one, 2 Osprey chargers, normal reliable, one in use for the next half an hour, the other one broken, completely turned off, couldn't use that one. Went to Morrison's, which was a Genie Point, broken, turned off, can't use that one. Finally got to Lidl's, no one here, no one in the car park, and working perfectly. So thankfully that was working, and I think there was a couple of others. But in these sort of areas, certainly in cities and towns, that definitely should have, you know, 5 or 6 of those, or a hub or something to accommodate people coming in and out of towns. And it encourages people to come into the town and shop and do various things. Or charging hubs on the outskirts of town, like a lot of places are starting to do. Hopefully with the grid serve ones, as they start to pop up everywhere, that will ease things up. But short term, there's got to be other solutions as well. It was an unnecessary situation this morning, I think, that could have been avoided. But hey ho, you know, just a quick video, but I'm now going to charge to 80-85% here, because I think that's all this one will allow anyway. I need 75, 78 miles to get to Milton Keynes, where I'm going to charge at probably the coachway. as long as they're not blocked, and then head home. Now it's worth noting as well, this morning it was 3 degrees, so it was really cold. So it wasn't as efficient as it could have been, although it was more efficient because I had preheated and pre-planned like the timer on the car. So if you've got that option, which most electric cars have, definitely use that. If you've got home charging, then you know it will re-top that bit up that you would have used, whereas in my case I haven't got home charging, so it couldn't. So I lost that tiny bit of range. The other thing to note in this sort of weather, if you are going and looking to buy an electric car, I recommend buying an electric car and test driving it at least in the winter, because you will get the worst case real world range from a car. Try it on motorways, back roads, everything in cold weather. And then, because basically in the cold weather, you generally lose about 20%. So in the summer, will have 120, 130 miles on my i3. In the winter, anywhere between 90 and 95. So it's a bit of a difference. And you need to take that into account when you're driving, certainly when you're doing longer journeys. So anyway, I'm signing off. I'm going to be heading back down south towards Milton Keynes and then home. But thank you for watching. Check out Buy Me a Coffee if you want to support the channel. More content coming. And as always, thank you for watching. I do want to give a couple of shout outs to people. Ride Right Waxing, still love your channel. I think it's great. Carry on doing what you're doing. Great supporter of that channel. Explore Devon UK, again a really good chap that rides unicycles around Devon, around Dawlish way. Absolutely fantastic channel. I really like that as well. And there's a few others as well that I'm addicted to at the moment. But I'll put links in the description below if you want to click on those. Give those guys some sort of some love, especially Explore Devon UK. Let's get some subs on his channel, because it's really good and it's really fun. It's chilled, relaxed kind of electric unicycle videos, which is really good. And thank you very much, really. So I will see you on the next one. See you later. Bye.